here we go. Hi, I'm Ronnie Peck, pastor of Millington First United Methodist Church, and this is your Midweek FaithLift. You know, Christmas time, we hear a lot of stories, and they really stir our souls when we think about some of the hope and the miracles that happen around Christmas. And I remember reading recently one story about a little boy. Doesn't have a name because no one knew his name. But his life didn't start out so well. He had been abandoned by his mother and left with a drug-addicted aunt. And when she would go out during the day, she would lock him in the apartment. And he was never allowed to begin kindergarten. And sometimes when she paid the electric bill, he might get to watch some TV. And of course, when she didn't pay it, then nothing would happen for him. But during those times when he got to watch TV, he would see places that he thought that someday he'd love to go and visit. He'd see children playing with toys, and it caused him to dream. He knew about Santa Claus, but in his young life, Santa Claus had never come to visit him. And then one day when his aunt left, she left the door unlocked. And so he went outside. And he hadn't been outside very much, and he was walking down the streets, and there were all of these shops, and it was near Christmas time, and so he would look in the windows, and there would be all of these toys behind that big plate glass. And he would envision himself being able to play with those toys. He looked across the street, and there were more shops and stores just like the ones he had been looking in. He wanted to go over and look at those. He didn't have much experience crossing the street. And so he began crossing, and it happened. The squeal of brakes, and bump, he was hit. Fortunately for him, it wasn't a bad accident, but it was bad enough that he got a broken leg, got a few little cracked ribs, and he had to spend some time in the hospital. And while he was in the hospital, some of the nurses decided that for the children who were going to be there during Christmas, that they wanted to do something special for him. And again, they didn't know this little boy's name, but they knew that he was poor, and they knew that he didn't have much, and he probably wouldn't have anything coming for Christmas. And so they put some money together. And so when this little boy woke up on Christmas morning, and he looked at the foot of his bed, and there were all of these Christmas toys and candy and cookies and things that he had imagined that one day would be his. And he looked at the nurse and he said, "Is this mine?" And she said, "Yeah, it's all yours." And he said, "But there's no glass in between." You know, sin was sort of like the glass barrier that kept us from having that relationship with God. And so God decided to do something about it. And he did that at Christmas. When he became one of us, and was born to the Virgin Mary as the Christ child. And so now Jesus is the Savior that builds that bridge between lost humanity and a redeeming God. I'm Ronnie Peck, and this has been your Midweek FaithLift. I'll see you back here again next week.